Good evening. I'm Harry Keeling, and on behalf of Alaska Public Media and the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation, welcome to Hangar Flying. Our guest this evening is Brian Heaslet. Brian was born and raised in Alaska. He got his undergraduate degree in aeronautical science from Embry-Riddle in Prescott, Arizona. He also earned a master's degree in safety science from Embry-Riddle. I first met Brian when he was an undergraduate at Embry-Riddle, and he actually did an internship with me at OAS. Through that internship, Brian wrote a very thoughtful study. In fact, I just pulled it out the other day and I looked at it, and it's very well done, about lessons learned in aviation accidents in the Department of the Interior in the past 30 years. After his master's, Brian took a job in health and safety on the North Slope, and then he was recruited by LifeMed 2 years ago. Brian, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks, Harry. It's really nice to be here with you.
Let's talk about your current job.
Well, like you said, 2 years ago, LifeMed recruited me based on my background in aviation safety. The company it's structured very interestingly. Our name is fairly well known throughout the state. It's plastered all over the aircraft, but those aircraft aren't actually ours. We have 3 vendors. We use Grant Aviation out west, Aero Air for our King Air and Lears, and Air Methods for our helicopters in the valley and on the peninsula. It's a very interesting situation with the pilots not being our direct employees, but we all have a very good working relationship. So my office serves as a liaison essentially between all those vendors and us, and allows our medics and nurses to work well with the pilots.
So you've been with them a year and a half, 2 years?
Coming up on 2 years in beginning of March.
And I sense a lot of enthusiasm. Are you enjoying the job?
I love the job. It's great. Even though it's a behind the scenes position, it's just such an honor to work with these individuals that all do a job that is such a necessity, and they're all just excellent at what they do. So I'm very pleased to be able to be a part of that team.
Well, now let's take that a step further. You're young and you're really just getting started in the health and safety field, but you've worked hard. I know that you've worked hard on getting your degrees and getting to where you are. You have any advice for people out there that are watching this show and saying, boy, I'd like to be there?
It is hard work. it's a lot of hard work, but you just have to know that it does pay off. And at the same time, you cannot say no to any continuing education. It's very important that you seek out those opportunities and you complete them as often as you can.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because we ran into each other most recently when we were taking the SMS course that Medallion was offering. So
yep.
A good example, huh?
Yeah.
One of my favorite subjects, and one in which I've talked about often with my guests, is risk assessment. Does your company and the companies you mentioned that you work with, do they have formal risk management and risk assessment programs?
We do, and that's part of the interesting part of getting everyone to work together and to mesh together. Right now, LifeMed is about halfway through implementing their own safety management system, and in that there is a risk assessment that is used for all decisions, whether they're business or operational. Each individual vendor that we utilize, they have their own risk matrices that they run through for transports that need to be completed. And then also our ground division has a risk matrix that they need to go through as well. So all of these matrices fit together actually quite nicely into determining whether or not these transports that we're doing are safe, ready to go, and it allows us to look at anything that needs to be mitigated before they are even begun.
So classic risk assessment.
Standard transport call will come in. Pilots will go look at the weather, do their thing, look at the destination. Our medical crews will get an evaluation of the patient as best they can, and together they'll come up with their individual assessments of the situation, and then they group together before the transport, and they collectively make a decision to go or not go. And in this case, the pilots will share all the knowledge that they have with our flight crews. Our medical crews have some aviation knowledge that can assist them in these types of decisions. And the patient information, conversely, is not shared at all with the pilot. That way it is a very sound operational decision, and it's not rushed with conflict of interest.
In fact, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. That seems like that's a very important pillar of your program. We're going to run out of time. In fact, we have. I'd like to get you on again, and we'll talk a little bit more about what you're doing in aviation safety, which is what we're all about. So thanks for being on the program tonight, and we'll get you on next time.
Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed tonight's program, and we'll get Brian on next time to talk a little bit more about risk assessment, risk management, and the business he's in. And until then, fly safe.